So then you went on, stayed right in state, played at New Hampshire, and Coach Kelly was the offensive coordinator?
He was, yep.
And who was the head coach?
Sean McDonald.
Sean. So I met Sean, and Chip and I just talked over at one of your spring practices that we remember the day at the Rose Bowl that Sean and I and Chip were standing in the middle of the field. And we said, look at us. 3 Division I AA guys standing at the granddaddy of them all. Man, we were like peacocks.
Yeah, I bet.
You know, it was fun. And Chip reminded me of that the other day when we had a chance to visit. And so as you think about Sean,
yeah,
and you think about what did you think he, whether intentionally or just naturally did to help you guys understand that it's all about the team?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's you talk about growing up and you know, Nina being about a mile from me and then Chip, you know, being about a mile from her, and we were all kind of in the same area. And I remember at a young age, you know, Chip being over my grandparents' house, and I remember Chip working Nina's dad's basketball camp, and so there was that sense of community back then. And then when I went on to stay in state and go to the University of New Hampshire, you know, I just remember back then it was just all about winning. It was about winning, and it didn't really matter, you know, what happened in terms of how you played. As long as you won, then good things were going to happen. And as I've gotten older, to your point, I think, you know, whether it's society, social media, however, you know, things are nowadays, it doesn't really focus as much on the team. But elite people who are trying to do elite things know that they need a team around them, whether they're in the sport of football, where you have to do that, or not. Because when you're trying to do elite things, you know, when you surround yourself with people who your strengths are their weaknesses and vice versa, you know, they bring certain things to the table that maybe you don't, you know, whether it's in your own family or whether it's, you know, your staff. But in terms of football, man, it's really important, because you can't win a championship unless, you know, you got a really good kicker, because, you know, the left tackle can't kick the ball and the kicker can't throw the ball, and he can't cover a wide receiver. And so you need all of those guys, and you don't always realize it until you're in that moment when you're counting on that one person to do their job. And so, you know, you come to, you know, a school like Ohio State where you want to go chase championships, you want to win national championships. You have to make sure that you're doing your part as a team, but also embracing the fact that when you come to the building every day, there's things you can learn from other people that come from different backgrounds, that have different strengths and weaknesses.
Well, you know, it reminds me that we evolved to believe that if we could get to the point where we understood that individually I am insignificant without every other person.
Right.
And that's important on a football team, that's important in a society.
Yep.
You know, every other person, the walk-on, the equipment guy, the trainer,
yep.
Every person is important. And we kept grinding away at Youngstown State, trying to become the best. And I tell you, the thing that really flipped it for us to get our moment to stand on the top of the mountain was when we finally came to the conclusion that it was bigger than us. Yep. You know, we were so focused on Youngstown State. We want to be the national champions. We want to win it all. We want to go to the playoffs. And then, you know, somehow we found out that, you know what, it's even bigger than that. It's the Youngstown area had lost the steel industry 15 years earlier. They were going through hard times. As we were getting better, we could see the pride that was permeating way outside the locker room. And then when the light went on to our guys that, you know what, this is bigger than us. Right.